At the Good Life Cooperative, we believe everyone can benefit from a little guidance as they navigate along the healthcare landscape. Some doctors say that the human body is like a car. If you inherited good genes from your parents, your body is like a high-performance, well-made luxury sports car that doesn't break down often. And while you can't change your body the way you can change cars or prevent your body from getting old, regular health screenings and lifestyle modification are essential to keeping you healthy. Just as getting your car serviced regularly and driving it carefully will help it last longer. This is how you do it.
The definition of high blood pressure remains the same at whatever age we are. Hypertension or high blood pressure can lead to heart failure, kidney failure, stroke, and heart attacks. Blood pressure management is important because it helps to improve the quality of our lives as well as to reduce the healthcare costs to society and to healthcare industry. And the blood pressure does increase with age as part of the natural aging process. Well, as we age, our arteries will get stiffer, it gets less elastic, so the systolic blood pressure would then slowly start to increase and the diastolic blood pressure will slowly start to decrease. And over time, these values may exceed the upper limit of normal. I feel that we should be concerned at all times whether our blood pressure is normal or high, and of course especially when it's high. But even if our blood pressure is normal, because of the aging process, it does change over time. So we should always periodically measure our blood pressure to make sure that it remains in the normal range. Having a reading that is high should not affect the person's way of living, but should then encourage him to seek help, as well as to maybe change his lifestyle in order to reduce the blood pressure. In most people, does not cause any symptoms, so the person would actually be relatively well, and he would not have any abnormal feelings. So it is important for the person to actually measure his blood pressure in order to know whether it's high. So in most patients with high blood pressure, they may not have any symptoms. However, in certain patients whose blood pressure becomes very high, they may have symptoms such as severe headaches, which do not resolve with just normal home treatment, or a blurring of vision, or weakness of one side of the body, severe spinning of the head, and as well as maybe severe chest pain and breathlessness. So these could be signs of severe high blood pressure that is causing very bad stress to the body. Hypertension can be prevented or slowed down by adopting healthy lifestyle like eating fruits and vegetables, reducing salt intake, and regular exercise. So as a young individual, if he keeps to a healthy diet and lifestyle, then that would probably hold the high blood pressure at bay. Well, as I mentioned earlier, usually age is a very important factor for the development of high blood pressure. So as we can't prevent ourselves from getting older, the chance of us developing high blood pressure is higher. So as we get older, we have to be more conscious about our salt intake to make sure that is kept to as minimal level as possible, as well as to also engage in regular aerobic exercises, so that that will help also to reduce the risk of the blood pressure rising. So the American recommendation is basically 2,300 milligrams of salt a day, and this would work out roughly to about 1 teaspoon of salt. We all are usually not aware that in most of the food that we take, there's already natural salt in it. So what I would advise is, if you want to reduce salt intake, is to have no added salt when you cook your food or you prepare your food, not to add salt to it. To avoid preserved foods like canned foods or foods that are cured, or foods that have a lot of seasonings, because these contain a high amount of salt. Also, a lot of snacks have very high salt content, because that's the way they have flavorings as well as salt to make the food or the snack taste better. So that would also have a major impact on the salt intake. Certain kinds of local seasonings also may have quite a bit of salt. For example, like soy sauce, certain kind of oyster sauce, or seasonings which contain monosodium glutamate (MSG) would have quite a bit of salt as well. So we have to be aware of not adding or not using too much of these in our food preparation. Alternatives to salt may help to reduce salt intake. So for example, there are varieties of salt brands that are low in salt, what we call low salt, or so salt alternatives that contain a substitute for sodium, which is called potassium. And in those kinds of salt substitutes, if we use them in our food preparation, that would also help to reduce our salt intake.
Staying positive and living a healthy life can help you lead an uncomplicated life, even when you are old and frail. But if you do need help at any point of your hypertension journey, it's nice to know that you will be in good hands and have a healthy future. This educational video is brought to you by the Good Life Cooperative.